So we often joke that if you want to hear the blunt and the unvarnished truth, you should always ask a Fauji. Never holding back punches, are you, sir?
Well, it's always good to say what is the right thing. And right thing means what is actually happening.
So we are in the 9th year of the Modi government. The ministry that you hold, sir, one of the ministries that you hold, it is got much plaudits, the road transport and highways. But I don't want to ask you about your achievements. We know about the record number of kilometers of highways, roads done every day. What in the last 9 years is your biggest problem, especially when it comes to the infrastructure push? The Prime Minister made it very clear that highways, airports, infrastructure, HERA as he calls it, is going to be the main focus from here on. What is your one lasting regret of the last 9 years, especially in road transport and highways?
See, there's no regret as such. I'll put it the other way around, that last 2 budgets especially, when you see, they've been capex oriented. Capex more biased towards infrastructure. And why infrastructure? When you start constructing things, it affects 300 to 400 different industries, small industries. I mean, if you're going to make a house, I think it will affect about 300 odd industries. Somebody is making nails, somebody is making something else, something is making doors. Overall, the capital that you are spending is actually getting distributed in a very large section. And therefore, it results in a fair amount of economic rejuvenation. So, over a period of these 9 years, you will see that year on year, infrastructure has taken a leap. If you take the road sector, I'll say our only regret is that we have not been able to ensure that fatalities in road accidents reduce. They have gone up. The roads are excellent. The speeds are higher. A lot of times accidents happen because of the speed mania. A lot of times it happens because how the vehicle or the pedestrian is crossing the road. So, I mean, 5 lakh accidents per year, and almost, let's say 2 years back, figure was about 1.5 lakhs of fatalities. We have brought it down to 130. But it doesn't make us happy. We want it to come down far below that. So there's a lot of effort that is on. And same is true. Wherever the infrastructure goes up, many other things happen, which need to be controlled.
Incidentally, I'm glad you started with that, because in a very ironic way, most people would think that wherever there is infrastructure, the economy would boom. Now, 2 recent examples that I was reading about. One, in fact, is in Karnataka, where this became an election issue. For example, when the Mysuru Expressway was inaugurated, everyone welcomed it because it boosted the connectivity. However, for example, in Ramnagar, the toy industry had a problem. They said that, oh, we've got this local toy industry, it is suffering because जो business हमारे पास आता था, वो हमें bypass कर जाता है. Second is in Mumbai, small eateries, businesses, they said कि आपने modernization तो कर दिया, but the local industries are suffering. How do you factor in such local but very big issues?
No, I think, I don't know how many people are here from Ghaziabad. Are there any? Great. No, I'm talking of Ghaziabad. Ghaziabad has got a auto parts setup, a small, not very big, very well managed. Today, whichever car is manufactured in the world, or whichever company is sourcing parts from this company in Ghaziabad. It's a small company, a small town. Same is true with the same person starting a toy industry. He has actually captured the market where the market was being held by the Chinese sourced toys. So, why I'm saying this is that it is not true that people are not benefiting. It's a question of how the local industry plugs into what is happening. If you are able to plug, if you are able to... See, today everybody wants quality. Everybody wants something which is better. And of course, we are very good at wanting something which is cheap. So, if you combine all this, you reach a particular level where at times we fall back in competition because of the price. Our quality may be excellent. I mean, some of you who have gone abroad would know that most of the departmental stores or malls, the Indian garments and other items, they are above $25. Below $25 and in fact below $10 or $15 is the Chinese market. Our quality is superior. But the demand accordingly will only be with people who are quality conscious and not price conscious.
Basically, these are, you're saying, small hiccups which needs to be adapted to. The concern about highways. Roads are being built with speed, but there are also debts which are being incurred by the NHIA, and the current debt stands at 3.48 trillion in March 2022. How do you address this?
It is a misnomer. It's a misnomer because the model that is in place is whether you do it on EPC or you do it on HAM or you do it on BOT, the money is coming from the banks and it goes into the road making, and after that it is being recovered through the tolls. Ultimately it is going back. So we are not factoring this particular aspect. We are getting a fair amount of money out of our tolls, and especially after FASTag, the figures have gone up dramatically. We have had, with the FASTag coming in, today it's almost 95% recovery is there. And very soon, give us another 6-7 months, we are changing to a different system where we will do away with the barriers. And we will only record the vehicle that enters the road, whether it is through a system where the satellite reads it, or the GPS reads it, or the camera reads it. All the data is available. When you exit the road, same thing happens again, and for the time that you travel, or rather the distance that you travel on the road, we'll charge you for that. You won't even come to know. Only your bank will tell you.
Now, the concern also is in the delays. Very ambitious target has been set by the union government. But according to a report from the 30th of April 2023, 402 out of 749 projects in the Road Transport and Highways Ministry are currently falling behind time. They are getting delayed. What is the reason for this?
See, our main reason where road construction gets delayed is land, availability of land, which is a state subject. So, and this was more so in the earlier years because we were still in the legacy mode. I'll put it that way. The project would be given when only 50% land had been made available. Last 4 years or so, 5 years, I'll put it 5 years, the policy is very simple. Till the time we do not get 90% land, we do not start a project. Now, this delay is statistical. Why is it statistical? A project has been sanctioned. So in the books it goes as project sanction, but we are waiting for the land to be made available to us. Once the land is made available, then actually the project starts. And from the day that we make this full land available, we are giving 2.5 years time for its completion. Most of our projects are getting completed in that time.
2.5 years.
2.5 years. That is why you have seen this phenomenal change. And I'll also add to it that a lot of our road builders who are and contractors, they are today in competition. Every 3-4 months we get a new record. The last one was by Cube construction company. They have done 100 lane kilometers in 100 hours. Now, it never used to happen. Such things never used to happen earlier. Today we are, I think there is something in Indians which a lot of people do not recognize. And that is the ability to rise to the occasion, whatever may be the occasion. And I think that is what is happening today.
But sir, are there also pitfalls of this, this record speed of building roads? Let me quote to you a few examples. Day before yesterday, there was a photograph that went viral in Maharashtra where the entire road is being picked up by the villagers and almost like a carpet, it is being lifted. In Uttar Pradesh, in 2 places, there were allegations that पूरी road जो है, उसके ऊपर जो उन्होंने bitumen डाला हुआ था, वो पूरा निकल करके, उखड़ करके, as soon as it became hot, it was above 35 degrees, पूरा सड़क लोग ऐसे गांव वाले उठा.
Why I'm laughing at this thing is, none of these roads are NHAI roads. I'm very sure about NHAI roads. None of them is NHAI. Quality is being assured. There's third-party quality assessors. There are authority engineers, there is somebody else. It is a constant process. And mind you, where we find a fault, that's why we travel a lot. All officials in the ministry, we ensure that they travel and see things on ground. You find a fault, the contractor has to come back and repair it. There are some very old projects which are still problematic because they were given almost 15, 16 years back. But we are still working on it. And that is why the money that we collect from tolls goes into this, to ensure that the maintenance of the road is kept correct.
When you're talking about land acquisition being a problem, are there still some states which are outliers? Because increasingly states must have also realized that they benefit whenever the road construction is accelerated. Are there some states which are still a problem when it comes to land acquisition and cooperating with NHAI?
Look, there are problems in some states. There are problems in some states, not only of land, but also of giving us the quarries for taking out earth so that it can go onto the road, quarries for stone, etc., etc. Land remains a problem because at places, it is the price of the land. See, today, people are willing to give land because you're paying almost 4 times the amount with the new law. Problem comes up where the assessment of land takes place by the land revenue authorities in the state. That is where the delay starts. And then delay also starts because the moment NHAI is concerned and they get an estimate of what is to be what is the expenditure, the entire money goes to the chief land acquisition officer, which is the state person. How they distribute the money, time taken by them, there are at times genuine problems because the land records may be very old. There are states like Jharkhand. The origin of the land is not known, but it is passed through 5, 6 different hands. Now whom do you pay? It becomes a problem. Till the time the money is not paid, the person is not willing to vacate the land. So that's how the...
So other than Jharkhand, which are the other states which you found a bit of a problem for national highways?
You want to know the states?
Yes.
I think we find problems in all the states. I'll be very even-handed about it. All the states. There are some states where problems are more. There are some states where the problems are also because of the forest clearance. Okay. And forest clearance at the state level. See, where trees have to be cut or you have to go through a particular thing. I don't know how many people know that after you make a road and you plant trees alongside, next time if you want to widen the road, those trees are now deemed forest. You have to take a clearance to cut that also. So it's a combination of factors.
Talking about road safety, you had mentioned in the beginning that your regret is about the number of accidents which have also gone up, naturally when the speed limit increases. Now, a recent Bloomberg report quoted the World Bank to say that road accidents in India are disabling and killing close to 900,000 people per year. What is the mechanism or what is your plan to bring these fatalities down? Because we've had n number of road safety campaigns, some of them we have also partnered on. But there is a section which feels that till the time we have discipline, infrastructure is just going to turn deadly. Like आप टांगा चढ़ा दोगे एक्सप्रेसवे के ऊपर, कोई साइकिल वाला होगा वहां पे, फिर हेड ऑन कोलिजन हो जाएगा, ट्रक खड़ा है without any dippers on. What is the mechanism that the government can possibly bring in?
We got all the states and told them exactly what needs to be done. Tamil Nadu followed it very diligently, and I'm talking of this before the assembly elections when we took the data. They put more people on the job. They ensured that they identified accident spots correctly by bringing in experts and enforcing the rules. It resulted in almost 25% decrease in accidents and fatalities in Tamil Nadu. Now we have given this model to all states. The states have to follow it. I can only, from my ministry, say, please follow A, B, C. We will help you in this. But the actual work has to be done at the state, whether it is identifying the road engineering problems, identifying the black spots, identifying areas where things probably have gone unnoticed and things can happen, enforcing the speed limits, ensuring that people don't get drunk and start driving, and ensuring the discipline where the pedestrians are concerned. Today, even if you go from here on this beautiful road to Meerut, there are a lot of places where suddenly you will find 10 people coming on the road, they do their hands like this, they think everything will stop and they go through. Accident will take place. But there are many other things that we are trying to do. Where access control is concerned, we are trying to see if we can put higher crash barriers made out of bamboo. We have got them tested, they're proving to be effective. So it will also probably add to additional safety feature on the roads.
Now, of these accidents that we spoke about, two-wheelers are almost 40%. Across the world, more safety features for two-wheelers are being considered. Is the Indian government also considering something like that? Airbags for two-wheelers, for example?
See, two-wheelers can't have airbags, but two-wheelers need to have helmets. And that is something which needs to be done. I think when people are younger, they feel it's a macho thing not to put on a helmet. So they can invent many excuses. Oh, it is too hot, it's too sweaty, etc. But it has to be made compulsory if you have to save lives. Second thing is, where the two-wheelers are concerned, they need to adhere to the lane traffic. Otherwise, things go wrong. We are finding this as a major cause of problem on the roads, where after 9 o'clock in the night, you find all truckers occupying all the lanes. So methodologies are being derived to ensure that we penalize them enough so that they follow lanes. And today, all our expressways that are being made, we have got the visibility of the entire stretch with our traffic management system. We can see where a vehicle stopped, where a thing is, and a necessary message can go to those people to ensure that they get off the road. So it will take a little more time, because disciplining is a very difficult process.
Well, then if discipline is the need, then you definitely have the right man on the job there. Electric vehicles, you had got subsidies for EVs. Do you think that you have achieved your target in terms of encouraging more electric vehicles in the country?
Great effort is being made for electric vehicles, and not only electric vehicles, there is also the research concurrently which is being done. Most of the vehicles have been using lithium ion. We are looking at sodium ion. We are looking at all other alternatives, including use of green hydrogen. It will take some more time for us to change over. At the same time, emphasis on use of ethanol is being done. My personal view, and I think slowly this view is taking roots, we need to open up the industry totally. Anybody can make ethanol. He can put up his own pump. Let's bring competition in the market. Ethanol price also will become more, I won't say cheap, but at least more realistic. And today it is possible to get the same calorific value which petrol or diesel gives with ethanol, which means that it will be much cheaper, it will be much cleaner, it will be less polluting. So we are at it, and the market is picking up. There are people who are now willing to get into the market to churn out electric vehicles. Of course, there are many modes in electrification that are there, not just batteries. You have, for public transportation, the tram-like buses, which can run through the cities with a wire above, which also means that we need to keep our electricity and power production in tune with what will be the requirement in the future. So all these issues are being looked at in a very serious mode. And I'm sure coming years, you will see many more people converting to electric vehicles.
You are encouraging production, you are giving targeted subsidies, etc. But do you think, giving the last mile infrastructure for that needs to be boosted further? Because most people who are even environmentally conscious would think twice, do I have the wherewithal to maintain an electric vehicle after I buy it?
So we are doing that. That's being done. The government is quite serious on it. And where the roads are concerned, wherever our wayside amenities come up, besides petrol bunks and all other facilities, electric charging, number of electric charging stations are being made. Aim is that this deficiency should not deter people from turning their vehicle into electric vehicle.
But what is the target that you have set for yourself in terms of, by 2024, X number of four-wheelers on the road should be electric vehicles? Is there any roadmap that you're working?
The roadmap is there in terms of how the changeover will take place. At the moment, with the type of installed capacity that is available and the players who are in the market, it is taking a little time. Because it moves on supply and demand. Now, the demand is getting higher. There are companies like Mahindra and Tata's. There is almost a 1-year waiting line for electric vehicle. So, which means that as the production goes up, you will find that many more people will go into it. And of course, the challenge of bringing down the price, initially, yes, the price has been higher. I'm sure the price is going to come down because the demand is picking up.
Now, coming to civil aviation, by 2014, you had 67 million domestic passengers in our skies. By 2022 last year, I think that was almost the double number of figures. You've also doubled the number of airports that we have. But do you think the pandemic slowed down considerably the targets that you had set for yourself in terms of not just airports, but also how many people, the slogan that was given, ki Hawai Chappal wala bhi ab Hawai safar karega.
What had happened during pandemic was that overall traffic went down. There were hardly any flights, lockdown was there. Plus, after the lockdown was also lifted, people were not very happy traveling because of the restrictions that were there. The number of people, the airlines were suffering great amount of loss. Now, as of today, we have crossed all those pre-pandemic levels, very clearly. We are far beyond that where the passenger traffic is concerned. And efforts are to ensure that you get more aircrafts into the system. That's the problem. You have Go First, which went down not because of the management or the financial part, but because of the Pratt & Whitney engine. Now, Pratt & Whitney is not meeting these supply targets. And an aircraft which is on Pratt & Whitney, if you want to change over, it requires more expenditure, it requires configuration changes, which probably a company will not do it themselves. So there is a crisis where the engines are concerned, and especially Pratt & Whitney. So we are hoping that the management of Pratt & Whitney, with whom we are in constant conversation, they do something better. They come up with the most interesting excuse that in COVID most of our middle and the senior management left, and today we are not able to manage our affairs well. Well, our suggestion was take Indians. They'll manage it for them.
What would you care to elaborate? Because this is very interesting. What is the conversation that is being had with Pratt & Whitney by the government of India?
Pratt & Whitney, they're not able to manufacture the number that they were manufacturing earlier. So their assembly lines are not churning out what they should have been.
So what's the government's intervention?
So far as Govt is concerned, all their aircraft were Pratt & Whitney. Indigo also has a certain number of Pratt & Whitney engines. Spice has a certain amount of Pratt & Whitney. In fact, all their Bombardier fleet is Pratt & Whitney. Those are smaller engines. They're still available in the market. Otherwise, we would have another crisis out there. So we have to keep pace with what the industry is churning, and we probably have to look long term as to what we can do where the aircraft engines are concerned in terms of dependence on our own resources. It will take time.
But is there any intervention on part of the Indian government with Pratt & Whitney vis-a-vis Gophers?
I told you, we have been talking to Pratt & Whitney. I told you the answer that they gave us. And with that answer, I don't think it induces any confidence anyway. We are hoping things will improve. But like a lot of others to whom we have gone to see if we can get replacements, they view Pratt & Whitney as a very arrogant firm. And maybe that is the cause of the slowdown that has taken place in their manufacturing facilities. But with the number of aircraft that have been ordered, which are not dependent on Pratt & Whitney, especially by Akasa and Air India, when they come in, things will improve.
Now, sir, talking about the airport development, which, like we spoke earlier, has doubled over the last 9 years. One area that really stands out, in fact, is an area which you as donor minister earlier were also closely associated with, the Northeast India. What was the thought? Why was there this concerted effort to go out and ensure that the Northeast gains air connectivity? And what are the real life benefits of this that you are seeing?
Okay. The first benefit is that people felt disconnected. We want people to be connected, and Northeast has, right from 2014 onwards, Northeast has occupied a very important place in whatever the government has done. Our aim is a railway line must reach all the capitals. Our aim is all capitals must have air connectivity. Our aim is that wherever there were old strips that were existing in that part of the country, they get revived so that we can put smaller aircrafts to ferry people, and we create a hub and spoke model out there so that people from those smaller places can come to a larger place and then go anywhere in the country. Till the time we do not improve the connectivity of mind will not improve. So Northeast has occupied a great amount of effort, and today, every time that I have gone to Northeast, I felt happier. There are better roads, there is better connectivity. Earlier, if you went to a particular place, you knew by the time you come back, it will be 4 days. Today, you know, okay, I can come the next day. That's the change that is taking place, and it is also having an effect on the psyche that used to prevail in the Northeast.
Do you think that's the reason that the BJP has done quite well in the Northeast electorally as well?
It has. It has made significant advances in that field.
Sir, with a lot of these smaller airports, for example, the airport in Ajmer, many of these airports in Darbhanga and Bihar, The complaint is that it's great that you have airports, but there aren't frequent enough flights. And because you have a limited number of flights, sometimes the prices there are very prohibitive. How do you address that?
See, where smaller airfields are concerned and airports are concerned, how many flights an airline can take is what matters. With the type of fleet that is existing today, there are constraints. We have been able to fill the gap which was created by Govt by ensuring that the other airlines take on additional flights, almost the same number, so that that gap gets filled. But for the smaller ones, we have also started looking at a small aircraft scheme. We are very happy if somebody comes to take part in this, whether you can get a smaller 19-20 seater. You'll make a great amount of business, I can tell you. Because you'll be able to feed the hubs with this, you can increase the frequency, and I think we'll be able to get rid of this complaint that I also frequently hear. More number of flights must come. Also understand the change in mindset that has taken place. Earlier there were no flights from Darbhanga. Today there are flights, and now people want more. That more is what is creating an issue.
So do you in the cabinet sometimes have fights with the Railway Ministry and the Civil Aviation Ministry? You start flying planes to Darbhanga, railway se kaun travel karega?
There are no fights, but because we are all concerned with whatever we have created, that gets serviced as well. And people get the benefit. See, some of the smaller ones came up as part of UDAN. And UDAN is basically democratization of aviation, where the Prime Minister said what you just repeated, Hawai chappal wala Hawai jahaz se chalega. And there is a cap on it in terms of the kilometer and the charges that you charge from the passenger. However, with this, passengers traveling longer distance also want a similar facility, which doesn't become very economical. After all, any model that is followed must result in sound economics. Otherwise, it will fail at some point of time. My feeling is that with this additional push that has been done, more airports coming up, more airstrips getting activated, the desire is there for more and more people to fly. And that is why I talked of the small aircraft scheme and enlarging the ambit so that we can have more number of people who can fly.
Sir, my final question to you is, even while you set these targets for yourself, you say that building all of these airports is a major achievement, highways is an achievement. Very often your government gets accused of that you've started using infrastructure as some kind of poll weapon. For example, Karnataka mein the Shivmoga airport was inaugurated. Now the Congress is asking, yahan koi udan bhar nahi rahi hai, koi passenger hai nahi. Jaldi mein aapne before the election isko inaugurate kar diya because you're using infrastructure as some kind of poll plank.
I don't think so. And why I don't think so is that each airport that we plan has got a time for completion. The thing about the government after 14 has been, everything is time bound. The road is given as a project 2.5 years. It has to be done. Otherwise, the contractor starts getting penalized. Same is true for the airports. We want it to get completed in a particular time frame. And if you don't push, then things don't happen. If Shimoga had to be completed and inaugurated by a particular date, it has been inaugurated. The flights will take time because now to reschedule the whole flight structure will take a little time. We have filled the gap of Go First. We will now start looking at what is not filled and how to, put a flight out there. Let me also tell you, I was talking to Akasha people the other day. The aircrafts are doing 14 hours a day. 14 hours a day, which means the number of pilots required for flights every day. They are having issue, but they are meeting the flight demand and the route demand that has been given to them. So everybody is motivated, everybody is working. Well, when you work, you will always find faults. If we are not working, there will be no faults.
And when you're setting very high targets, you know, your dil always mange more. General VK Singh, thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.